Thank you for having us here. For me, it's a big pleasure to be at this event talking about what we are envisioning, and it is the augmentation of humans with the power of exponential technologies. In order to start, let's go back 3,800 million years to give some context. This is the tree of life. This is each and every species in the planet. We started to create or to have life at this planet 3,800 million years ago. And when we go just into the final corner, we see the humans. We only have we have a lot less, and just 6 million years ago, we have a common monkey grandmother. And it's amazing because when we go back and we see a completely tree of life, we see how we are just at the end. And it is not because we are the best ones or the more evolutionary because of the genes. Genetics, using CRISPR, now it's possible to see and compare genes in different species. And basically, it's not that what makes us the leading species and the one taking decisions in the name of every other of the live animals, plants, bacteria in the planet. Just for you to know, we share identical DNA, 99.9% with each other human, 96% with monkeys. Or chimpanzees, more specifically, 90% with any cat, identical DNA with a cat, 85% with a mouse. Well, you can see with a banana, we have 60% of identical DNA. Then going back to the question, what is making us the leading species, the one that taking decisions for all the others? And this is a theory I really like, and is when monkeys and some other animals started to create artifacts that are complementing their cognitive abilities. There we started to change, to create change, to advance. And let's imagine this picture, for example, a monkey breaking a nut with a rock. That is not giving him a superpower, but is allowing him to break a nut better than just with the teeth. When we are going into a human race, we see the abacus, for example. We cannot do mathematical operations quicker and faster and easier using an abacus. But of course, if we are not using the abacus, we can still keep doing the same thing, adding numbers or doing any math operations. But the thing that makes us different is when we jump and start creating competitive cognitive artifacts. Those are artifacts like calculators, computers, planes, giving us powers and abilities that are not able for us if we are not using them. We can fly, yes, we can fly if we go into a plane or in a lidar or in a glider or any of those flying things. But of course, we can't fly if we are not using those. And this is a key point in the evolutionary theories. And this is the point I want to take. I want you to take that into a case for the next stage. Then the other thing that we should add into this melting pot is the revolutions. When we are talking about the fourth industrial revolution, we are talking about this. 12,000 years ago, we humans started to have agriculture and create communities and start staying at places. That was a very big disruption because, of course, from there, communities, towns, shared cultural issues started to develop and to evolve. And just 500 years ago, we started to create knowledge and to register our realizations, discoveries, insights, and we started to take notes and create books and integrate and gather knowledge, and that was starting to change our culture also. But 200 years ago, we started to create machines, steam at that moment, what we call the Industrial Revolution. And it was the moment when we started to create machines that were giving us the power to do more things, to move machines, to produce more, and that really changed our life. It is 200 years ago. Remember, we started thousands of millions of years ago in this presentation. And then we go, and only 100 years ago, the computing revolution came. And that changed a lot more things, because that was not only the physical revolution of producing things or moving things with machines that were physically doing our job, but this is our brain just interactive or interaction with the day-to-day of different industries. And computing changed a lot of things, but basically what really have us here at a point where we really have augmented powers is the exponential technologies. What is this? Well, and now the COVID, that of course has just months, but is completely revolutionizing, creating a revolution in our environment. The famous Moore's law is what makes us, but I don't like this graphic, then I will go to this. It is simpler and clearest. And this is the comparison on the computing revolution, where this very big computer had just 3.75 megabytes. Imagine the cost and everything. And the Moore's law was what was making us possible to use just a scan disk with 1 terabyte at a very reduced price. That's why today's technology is possible to scale and create. And also the communications revolution or evolution, because we moved from, let's imagine the man and the women in the caves. When we started to have conversation, they were one-on-one, super hyper-local, in-person conversations. It was impossible for them to imagine that one day they will be talking with people all over the world. Then we went into a theater, the radio. For me, the radio is one of the most fascinating stories of disruption in the communication, because let's imagine, go back to the moment when the people creating, all the team creating the radio was talking about the project, about a box with an invisible avatar, talking with the voice of a person who was in another space. And then the television, and finally, we are in a point where, due to Moore's law, due to all these developments, we are again in a one-on-one conversation, hyper-local conversation, but data-driven. I can talk with anybody. I can understand. I have the possibility to really understand what matters for people in the other extreme of the planet. And I can connect with them in a one-on-one conversation, understanding their needs, but data-driven. And finally, we arrived to this point where exponential technologies are creating a completely environment for the future of work. And basically, is a point where what we were dreaming in the science fiction, in the books, let's go back to Jetsons TV show or something like that, and all that dream is really happening today. But something also very interesting is merging the digital world and the physical world. And they are creating amazing opportunities and spaces for the development of a completely different working world. I will go very quick. I'm just seeing the time. Virtual reality, augmented reality, what we call now spatial computing, is giving the possibility to create simulations of real environments. 3D printing, some months ago, talking about that was like a maker's job or maker's hobby, but today is really, really saving lives. Drones and sensors gathering data from all over the world, being able to interact between the real world and the digital world. And finally, at the end of my, or at the side, on the side of my presentation or the slide, all the capacities that we have today to learn from real life, real environments, to operate or take decisions in digital environments. That's really interesting and is creating a new world of opportunities. Well, 5G will accelerate this even more. The possibility of having near real-time decisions based on the digital twins of the reality is an amazing opportunity that we have. We are living the best times ever. We have the opportunities that no human had before. We are in front of a moment, like that moment when we decided to start creating artifacts that were amplifying the possibilities of us as humans. But right now we have something else. We have the possibility to start deciding how to use that technology to augment the best things of humans. And I want to make an invitation for you all. First, we are in front of an infinite possibility. This is our brain and the neural connections. And today we are in front of a world where we can learn anything. And we can keep learning day after day. Augmented humans is just collaboration and co-creation. It's not competing with machines. And all of us, the ones participating in this event, for sure, have the ability to create tools, to create solutions, to create communications, to enhance that collaboration and create that cooperation between machines, computers, and humans. Fair play, ethics, visibility, placing people first, and building tech for good. That's something we must do today. If we don't have a problem, if we don't have an idea on where to start, this is basically the Sustainable Development Goals. And waking up every morning with a massive transformative purpose is like the best opportunity that we have. These are the 17 things where we as humans need to work, and we need to address solutions on all these issues. And I'm sure that we all participating at this event are able to create things. And I want to ask you, I want you to share in the chat, because that's the way we can start talking. What is your superpower? How are you adding with a solution for these needs that the world has in this exponential technologies opportunity that we have just in front of us? Well, happy to answer questions. Here I am, open for questions. Well, I can see in the chat. Let me go a little bit. Okay. Here I have. Sorry. How we are going to contribute in this COVID-19 situation? That's a very good question. Basically, the possibility that we have to train, to simulate environments, even being far away from them, and gather data from there to create solutions or take decisions is a very big opportunity. The VR or the spatial computing industry has no standard yet. That's a problem we have, because of course we can't scale as quicker as we would love to. But it's a big opportunity. It's a very interesting moment where we are living, and for sure there is the opportunity to create even more solutions. Happy to share with any of you my skills. And how can we women start to get involved more into AI? Well, it's not that how we can be involved, is that we need to be involved, because otherwise we will be creating biases in the system. Today, well, I'm sharing something super obvious, but artificial intelligence is trained by humans, and if the people who is training the systems and the libraries has a bias, well, of course, or we have a lack of any perspective on that training of data, for sure we will be having a huge problem. And that's why I was mentioning ethics, AI ethics, because it's not just good or bad, it's just building a digital reality that matches with the real world in order to start solving the biggest challenges. Thank you. I have here Linda. Nice to see you here. We're looking forward for your presentation after me. there is a danger of personal biases. Yes, sure. And biases, the only way to solve biases is to have more diversity, and diversity in all type of matters. I mean, ethnicities, culture, gender, training, prior experience. That's why we can't just have younger people developing. That's why I went into this industry. How I think this will be overcome, having all of us working and helping to build those tools is the only way. I really know about initiatives. I'm also involved in some of those, trying to have more diversity, more backgrounds. That's why me as a Colombian working with a company in New York and trying to build a global perspective. I'm just trying to have more diversity in these industries. In developing countries, the question about hardware can be more. Carlota, the thing with hardware is everywhere, and of course is in the hands of what we were calling makers. That in some way was these people is having really fun with technology, but is doing things that are not necessarily useful for the world. This is the moment for makers. These are the ones who can hack the system, building tools, building machines and hardware at more affordable prices. Is a very important point. And of course, networks of people and makers and technology people are the only way. That's why I love this event, because we are creating networks. Share with me your superpowers. We are short of time, but we are giving away free personal appointment. Okay, this is what should you students? That's a good point. I started in the data in the advanced analytics world. Not that young. I started after I was 35 years old, and the only way to start. Somebody was mentioning the other day. The best day to see a tree is 100 years ago. 100 years ago. The second best one is today. Then start today, create networks. I'm happy to be connected. I'm not, I can't say I'm the most experienced person, but of course, I'm completely open to help in the creation of networks. I'm happy to share my experience. And, of course, happy to connect and see how we can do more together. Thank you. I think we are on time. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.